I have a problem with this because this is factually incorrect. The idea that we share responsibility for the outcomes of people around us that are a result of our direct actions is not a new idea. I think you can make a reasonably good case that as long as there have been judicial systems, as long as there have been laws, as long as there have been rules in society, there has been a level of responsibility that we all have as individuals to look after the well-being of others. Anyway, hey, welcome back. We are going to go over a quick video today. No, we're not going over a video. Fuck, that is really locked in there, isn't there? Video responses. Holy shit. We're not going over video responses. We're going over the most pure form of content available, the most accurate and concise way in which people are able to communicate. Twitter. 280 characters. Let's go. Let's fucking get all the nuance. Let's get all the mother-loving just knowledge dropped by the enlightened ex-leftist that is David Silverman. So anyone that doesn't know who David Silverman is, technically, in a way, I know who David Silverman is today. I don't know who he was 2, 3, 4 years ago. I'm led to believe that there was a point in time when David Silverman was a figure, a influencer, if you will, in the skeptic/atheist community. And he has, since then, he has become a not leftist. And to be fair, he would probably still consider himself a skeptic. But he does seem to be very empathetic to right-wing conservative talking points of view, opinions. It's really weird. Really, really weird. So we're going to look at his Twitter today because, frankly, his Twitter is a constant source of joy for me because I just love these concise, self-aware takes when it comes to some of the issues of the day, the discourse that happens on Twitter. Let's get into it. All right, let's have a look at his page. Let's start with the man, the myth, the legend. So David Silverman fights bigotry in all directions. And Mr. Atheist Pants is his handle. We're not going to make fun of him for having a circa 1995 Hotmail username. That's fine. We're a little bit cringe sometimes. I call myself Vagrant. You know, what are you going to do? Whatever. You know what? Yeah, that's a look. He's very straight cut. He's very professional. He's looking at the camera. He's giving a smile. There's some creamy bokeh in the background. He's possibly cut off the watermark of the photographer, which suggests he's either copied it off a website where he's being credited, which is fine, or he's used a proof instead of a fully edited image for whatever reason. Okay, that's a little bit weird. How he describes himself, and this is great because the content I did recently when I was streaming on YouTube, I did a live stream on YouTube on Tuesday because I wanted to practice on the platform and get used to YouTube's little finagles when it comes to live streaming. Twitch far superior, so follow me on twitch.tv/vagrant_Sam because I much prefer being on Twitch. It's fantastic. So in that stream that day I was looking for conservatives who were trying to express their understanding of leftist progressive politics, identity, ideology, all that sort of stuff, and we didn't really find it. So here we have another chance. We have a new opportunity with an ex-leftist, ex-woke, firebrand atheist. That, whew, a lot there. So he should know, if he's an ex-leftist, what leftism is. He's ex-woke, so he should know what the concerns of people who get labeled as woke are. And also he should be aware of what their failings and their faults are, and, you know, when things are not particularly progressive. And firebrand atheist. To me, that says cringy 2016, Richard Dawkins, atheism. So he's pro-vax, anti-mandate. So he's for the vaccine, but he's not for it being mandated. Okay. CRT is racism. Dog whistle. There's a dog whistle there. 2 + 2 equals 4. Character over color. Oh, fuck's sake. Defunding is stupid. Free speech. Numbers over feelings. Isn't that just trying to steal Ben Shapiro's facts over feelings? Like, honestly? Whatever. Let's look at his hot takes. Fuck people who say fuck freedom. And that's been relevant since September 11, right? So he changes his pinned tweet regularly. That's interesting. I wonder what he means by that. Now, we can't really read into that, right? Because, you know what? I agree. Fuck people who say fuck freedom. Freedom's super important. I value freedom. I think that it's something to strive for. I think it's something that's valuable and creates a society that is enjoyable to be part of. And it gives people the latitude to do the things they want to do and to pursue the goals they want to pursue. I think that's great. That's fantastic. With no context, fantastic. But the issue is that what he's really saying? Or has he got a different idea of freedom? We'll find out. We'll read his tweets. Let's contextualize. Let's get all this put together and figure out who David Silverman is and why he's ex-left and ex-woke. All right, this is brilliant. Vaccine apartheid. Don Lemon's COVID bombshell. All right, what is this? 19 minutes. Fuck you. We're not reacting to this.
People that ain't had vaccines yet, they should be.
Wait, is that Richard? Is that Russell Brand?
Left behind. They're cluttering up hospital
beds.
That
is, isn't it?
Hospital beds are for people who've already had.
I relate to him on this because I think both me and, if I am right, and this is Russell Brand, we both got grey on this pandemic. It is, yeah, it is. Fuck, that's embarrassing. He's so. Look, last time I saw Russell Brand, he was a skinny, real dark black hair, and now he's gone grey like me.
Vaccines,
So.
but who is it really that haven't had vaccines? And what are their reasons? Is this as simple as Don Lemon seems to think it is?
And so I think we have to stop coddling people when it comes to this and the vaccine, saying, oh, you can't shame them. You can't call them stupid. You can't call them stupid. Yes, they are.
Shaming is always a good technique to get people to do things. If we've learned one thing from the protests and demonstrations of the last few years, it's the power of shame.
All right, we're not talking about Russell Brand today, so I'm not going to go any further, but I do fundamentally believe that there is a position for social stigmatization of people that do things that do not actually lead to a healthy and happy society. Like if you do something, if you take an action that causes society to not function as well as it could for selfish reasons, I think shame is a valuable tool there. Like this bullshit of like, we need to be polite to everyone. I think that is often a cover for accepting bad behavior as just another valid opinion. And I don't think that's, I just don't think that. So happy days. Oh, Silverman, 9 hours ago, and you're still on the BLM bandwagon. Great. I love that BLM is right. Fantastic. Vaccine mandates will lead to more racial... What? Hang on. Okay, what are you quote tweeting? BLM protesting vaccine mandates is the crossover hit we've been waiting for. Interesting. I've not seen this. Vaccine mandates will lead to more racial segregation. I usually don't agree with Kendi. Who the fuck's Kendi? But this shit creates and grows racism, literally, and intent doesn't matter. Yay, BLM. What the fuck? Okay, so this isn't being ratioed. Is David? 6 likes. Imagine having 53k followers and getting 6 likes. Holy shit. The real divide in our country is by class, not by race. I mean, that's fine. See, the issue is that there is a class divide that has got causal factors with race because of systemic racism. So, I mean, that you know, again, I don't know anything about this Jack Murphy guy. Culture, politics, masculinity. New videos daily. Yeah, God. Sometimes you see who they're followed by, and it gives you a few clues. I mean, that's just a meme. Fantastic. I mean, what are the replies to this? Is it okay to laugh at that? Like, the guarantee there will be more unnecessary deaths, especially in the black community. So sad. Lol, weak source. Sources do just. Okay, I'm kind of here at the moment. I'm not saying he's wrong, but I haven't seen reports of BLM protests that are protesting vaccine mandates. I've seen right-wing inspired protests in Melbourne, Australia, protesting vaccine mandates, where they have been spurred on by conservative thinkers and influencers, but I haven't seen BLM. Again, if it's happening, it hasn't come across my feed yet. I mean, it's possible. Fuck it, I don't care about your retweets, Silverman. I want your knowledge. I want your information. Look at that. That's a ratio as far as I'm concerned. Again, 53k, and he's got 20 likes. This is almost a day old. Holy shit. It's not up to you to limit your freedom to make other people less fearful. It's up to the fearful to steer clear of your freedom. Like, how entitled and self-centered is that? Like, to just completely abdicate your own responsibility to participate in a society that is good for all people. Let's check the comments. Come on, Pablo Mama, good friend, which is why I liked it. I'm wondering if you ever hear how ridiculous they sound. Yep, true. Sometimes you need to say a tweet out loud before you hit send. Exactly. If people don't want to be hurt by my drunk driving, they should just stay off the road. Can I buy the house next door and start a toxic waste dump? Sure. Saw this tweet and thought about you, David. More informed worldly view opens a person's thinking from me to us, and that's a wonderful thing. And that's what I'm saying. That's my point. That's what I think is, a more valid way to address things like the pandemic and vaccination as a whole, is that it is about all of us collectively doing what we together can do to ensure that the freedoms of us collectively is protected. Freedom's meaningless if you're not healthy. Freedom's meaningless if you're not safe. Freedom is something that has to be empowered by your ability to do what you want. And there are certain things. So there's Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is like the pyramid of things that need to be in place for someone to be actualized. You need shelter, you need food, you need water, you need those three things are probably the most basic. So it's like the food pyramid. If you remember that, I mean, that's really showing my age now, because the food pyramid is not considered a good way of establishing what our diet should look like. But the hierarchy of needs pyramid, anyway, it's like the base of the pyramid are the things that you need the most to sort of build a foundation for a life where you are able to do and exist productively and happily. The freedom that Silverman seems to be advocating for here is essentially like health as like the safety net of societal health is actually detrimental to freedom. And I think that's a very narrow-minded, short-sighted way of looking at freedom, because freedom is a collective responsibility for individual ability to do, be, exist, all that sort of stuff. And I think this is what this is. Let's see what this says. I'm a college philosophy professor. We don't teach socialism or even liberal political values. We teach critical thinking, evidence-based truth-seeking, global awareness, empathy, curiosity, and humility. DeSantis and others on the right face an enormous obstacle. Reality itself skews left. When people become more educated, they become more acutely aware of the suffering of others and their own moral responsibility to do something about it. Me first ideologies within the light of wisdom. Is there another? Is there more to that? Now let's hear from a non-leftist professor. He's already missed, like, the claim here is that education leads people to be more empathetic and socially minded when it comes to how they treat others. So to just go, oh, let's hear from a non-leftist professor, it's like, well, that's your job, mate. Like, if your claim is that this is not true, then bring counter evidence. Don't just go, oh, I don't believe you. This goes on for a bit. Let's check the quote tweets. Says the guy who thinks a branch of legal studies is racism. Yeah, true. CRT. CRT is racism. Oh, look at this. This statement follows the type of logic that would argue that being dumped naked and alone in the wilderness is maximum freedom. I got 1 like. Fantastic. But no, I stand by that. Like, this is ridiculous. This is the idea that freedom is about your personal disassociation from the effects and the circumstances of society, which it's not realistic. Like, I'm going to be impacted if something negative happens to my neighbor. Come on, give me some more. Vax or not, mask or not, COVID or not, huge numbers of lives would definitely be saved if we all quarantined full-time forever. Lives saved. How selfish of anyone to avoid this truth and go outside, increasing the risk of death to other people just so you can go play. Ass. Who are you talking to? Like, this suggests he's responding to someone directly, but hasn't had the fucking self-esteem to say it with his full fucking chest directly as Power Blue Mummer again. Sad life. If you put so much time and effort into triggering the libs, which is essentially all he does, and hassling, auditioning for Fox News. Not forever. If we did it for like 2 months, it would basically end the pandemic in America. God. What kind of annoys me is people that put this shit out and then they don't respond. They don't interact with that opinion. Their idea is that Twitter is for me to put out my opinion and to hell with the rest of you. And you know what? Fine. That's your freedom. That's your right. But fuck me, it comes off as cowardly. For a guy who used to debate professionally, you'd think you'd see when you smash 3 different fallacies together into a tweet designed to be a Tucker Carlson segment of insanity. David has morphed into Tucker Carlson. Fuck, man. Where are his fans? Your first word is correct, the rest is rubbish. Good point. See seatbelts, licensed vehicle operators, jail intoxicated drivers. Ass. Where are his fucking fans? What is his audience? Life is hard for all of us. We're struggling more than before. That's why this new idea that I'm also responsible for your health is facing so much resistance. I'm not. I've got too much to worry about. Your health is your problem. Life has risks. Good luck. That's a ratio. That wasn't ratioed. Interesting. I shouldn't look for ratios because, frankly, he's not relevant anyway. But even bots, I haven't seen any. I don't have. Not a humanist. Selfish is as selfish does. Here we go. Now, let's see. Do they have a follow account that suggests they are a real person? I'm going to give it a 50-50. See, I'm torn because this reads genuine. That and I can't be bothered clicking through to check their profile. Oh, look, he's coming back. I'll give you my input when you answer my yes or no question. Wait, what's the yes or no question? Oh, wait, I missed this response here. We can talk about that after we finish our current conversation, whether someone can disagree with you and still be good. Can it be that people like me and many blacks... What? When did this come into it? Here's the issue, right? There's a difference between seeing things differently and being wrong. And, okay, so here's the contention that David has brought up in a response to one of the replies in this tweet. This statement here, he contends, is a point of view. It is a way of looking at things. It is a way of assessing the world, and it is just as valid as any other view. Yes or no, you can't be good, you can't be bad, regardless of your stance on this particular opinion of his. That's his contention. Let's look. All right. Life is hard for all of us. Okay. We're all struggling more than before. Check. All good. Fine. That's why this new idea that I'm also responsible for your health is facing so much resistance. I'm not. I have a problem with this because this is factually incorrect. The idea that we share responsibility for the outcomes of people around us that are a result of our direct actions is not a new idea. I think you can make a reasonably good case that as long as there have been judicial systems, as long as there have been laws, as long as there have been rules in society, there has been a level of responsibility that we all have as individuals to look after the well-being of others. In the sense of, I'm not responsible for someone, say, getting a lifestyle disease, say diabetes or some sort of heart disease. Yeah, that's not necessarily my problem. But when it comes to a pandemic, right? So this is not just responsible for your health. This is responsibility for undertaking risk mitigation that I have easy access to in a pandemic. Do I have a moral responsibility to take those steps when the impact to me is minimal? Right? Again, let's contextualize this with the things that people are being asked to do. People are being asked to vaccinate, to stay home if they're sick, and to wear a mask when they are not able to socially distance. Maybe you're in a country that has a high vaccination rate and the risk has been decided to be lower than a place where the vaccination rate isn't very high. Based on those variables, people are putting in and people are expecting that we take reasonable steps to minimize the risks to others. Reasonable steps. David Silverman rejects that. That is not his responsibility. He has no moral or ethical imperative for him to show compunction towards others. I think that's wrong. I think I can look at someone that has that opinion and I can say they are not a good person. Let's look at the last word before we do our full analysis of this tweet. I've got too much to worry about. Your health is your problem. Life has risks. Good luck. That's just fuck you. Like just save some characters. Fuck you. Fuck you. That's all he needs to worry about, right? I don't need to hear about your problems. They're not my problems. Fuck you. I'm gonna look after myself. That's selfish. That's pretty dick move there. So we've come to the end of this. We can assess this as being selfish, entitled. We can assess that this is not a new idea, that we share a common responsibility for the well-being of those around us, and that's why in society we have arranged sets of rules and laws and even things that are just social expectations that minimize harm to others we've adopted and accepted into society. So it's not even things that are just legal mandates. It's actually just societal expectations. Like when you sneeze, you're expected to cover your mouth. Same when you cough. Like that's even pre-pandemic, like it's considered rude to yawn with your mouth open. You're meant to cover your mouth, and all these little niceties that have existed for fucking decades, centuries, are all designed around the fact that it is polite and it is good-mannered and it is morally expected of people in society to do things that make life easier for those around us without unnecessarily burdening each other. Pretty clearly that we can finish this conversation whether someone can disagree and still be good. See, this is what he's trying to do in a lot of this stuff, is he takes out the context of a specific idea or conversation and then asks a broad statement about whether or not this thing without context can be considered good or bad. Like we go back up to this tweet, right? There's no mention of a pandemic. There's no mention of a direct emergent threat to society. That context is removed because he wants to talk just about your personal health is not my personal responsibility. But the reality is we're talking about our societal risk in the face of a pandemic versus our societal response to mitigate the risks of that pandemic. And then down here, he wants to go, well, can someone disagree with you in a general way and still be a good person? Or are people just rock bad for disagreeing with you? That's not what we're talking about. Like, we're talking about a specific statement of selfish, entitled rhetoric that minimizes the impact that we all have collectively as individuals to protect each other because of some self-satisfied entitlement that I can do what I want because that's what freedom is. So you're not seeing things differently, you're seeing things selfishly, and a lot of these other people are seeing things fairly. So, Brian Keith, how do you respond to that? And I appreciate that 280 characters is a little bit harder to respond to. I was open to my premises being wrong and posed a couple of questions on the thread for you to answer about my premises. Heard nothing from you. I welcome your input. Fantastic. I'll give you my input when you answer my yes or no question. when you are avoiding because you have a cognitive dissonance. Clever. Because you know, of course, the answer is yes, but you can't go against your mantra. Like religion and original sin, you can't see good equals disagreeing. All right. In the comments, did I answer David Silverman's question? Did I provide a reasonable and compelling justification for why you can disagree with this and you can make a case for it being selfish and on that basis of causing harm unnecessarily? Wrong. Morally wrong. You are 0% responsible for my health. I'll take care of me. If I'm scared of germs, I'll stay away from you. If not, and I catch something from you, assuming you don't know you're sick, it's 100% my fault, not yours. You do the same and we'll be normal again. Everything I just said, again. 100% everything I just said, again. Dave Rubin. David Silverman wishes he was Dave Rubin. This is, yeah. Tim Pool. We should kick fat people out of hospitals to make sure we protect the healthy. It's all about triage. If you choose to be unhealthy, then healthcare is not a human right. No one fucking says that, right? No one says we shouldn't look after the people that are unvaccinated. Yes, there are some fucking cringe lords that are like, well, if you choose not to get vaccinated, I hope you choose not to go to the hospital when you get COVID. But no one's honestly advocating that they should lose their right to fucking healthcare. Like, that's just fucking stupid. Man, Tim Pool is popular, eh? Like, it's surprising that that's essentially what Silverman talks about, but he doesn't get ratioed. If voter ID laws are racist, vax with ID laws are also... What? No one's saying you need an ID to get vaxxed, are they? Aren't they saying that if you get vaxxed, you'll get an ID? Like, you get a vax card so you can go into places? Citation needed. God. This talking point, like, I fucking hate it. Like, we know that it's fucking the policy equivalent to gerrymandering to basically just make it as difficult and high friction as possible for people to vote. Here we go. Want to know a great way to ease the COVID hospital crisis? End COVID vax requirements on hospital staff. Holy shit. Oh my god, that is a big... Please let this be ratioed. Please let this be ratioed. Oh fuck, 5 likes. Why am I covering this guy again? Like, holy... He is so fucking irrelevant. He cannot even get a fucking... He can't even get cancelled for doing something stupid like saying nurses that deal with high-risk patients that might be immunocompromised shouldn't be vaccinated. Like, what the fuck? How did this fly under the fucking radar? Jesus. Exasperate. Holy shit. What is this? That is amazing. Fucking hell. What is this?
Let's talk about the future.
Tim Pool, fuck off. How does he say he's like in the center? How does David Silverman think he is a centrist? Like, that is obscene that he thinks he's a fucking centrist. AOC, Queen. To this point, I'm pretty sure everyone that went to the Met Gala had to show proof of vaccination, and they're adults in a setting where they probably had much more success in ensuring that people were socially distancing where possible, whereas you don't really get that in a school for kids that are 7 years old. I can't prove that. I've got no citation. That's just my feeling, you know. Ratio, fucking yeah. Like, that's a tasty ratio. That's an over 100% ratio. See, look at this. His entire fucking Twitter is bitching about people wanting people to get vaccinated when they can get vaccinated because they should get vaccinated. Twat waffle account to follow since grad. Oh, that's a high fucking bar from Navadia. Another friend of the show, Navadia. Didn't have a year to prepare. I mean, look, what can you say to that? It's just patently not true. Infrastructure to build and expand hospitals takes more than a year. Budgets need to be approved. Generally, expenditure for the year that COVID hit had already been expended. Like, it was already money tied up in other projects. It would have taken some time to get that diverted, and I'm sure it could have been to a certain degree. because they would have seen the crisis incoming. But like, there's a delay on that. There's, you know, time that gets taken away on that. There's time that people were not able to necessarily work because of lockdowns to do the changes. Again, the high impact on the hospitals means that they would probably had less capacity to do infrastructure work because they needed every square inch that they had. Just such a, like, I think what pisses me off, is that the right word? Maybe that's not the word. Maybe the word is, maybe the thing that makes me laugh and want to bully David Silverman is that he markets himself as this rational, logical, 2 + 2 = 4, like, just person who can see things from all sides. But he doesn't. He refuses to acknowledge that for every point he thinks is a hardline, fact-ridden gotcha moment for the left and the woke, is really just his inability to understand things are complex, things are messy, life is grey, things are not simple, they can often be complicated, we can't always see the things that need to happen to get to certain outcomes, and hospitals expanding to understand and to address spikes through COVID outbreaks is not an easy thing where you just go, well, they had a year. What's up? They had a year. No matter what side you're on, so an appeal to being logical, people on your side lie to bolster your mantra. The fucking mantra. He wants to shame people into like thinking that they're somehow being religious. So this is his cringe atheism coming out, in that he will try to use language that makes people in his former circle of online atheism feel like they're questioning themselves, or maybe I'm being like those crazy religious people. But fuck me, it's so transparent. To bolster your mantra, fuck off. Don't listen to what your side says about the other side. Listen to them for yourselves. Good thing we're doing that, David. David, we have spent some time, probably too long, going through this. We are taking your advice, and I've got to be honest, you haven't galvanized me to move further right on this yet, so do the real work and listen to the other side firsthand. Again, primary source, your tweets. Then and only then will your opinion be informed. See, this isn't correct. This isn't correct anyway. This is wrong. This is not good advice, right? Whenever you're looking at finding out the truth behind a particular circumstance, a particular claim, or a news article or anything like that, like, what you do not do is look at the left, look at the right, and then decide what the truth is based on your opinion of those two things, because there are several factors in there that are going to pull you in a direction that have nothing to do with the truth. The first thing is going to be rhetorical effectiveness. So if you listen to people that are charismatic, that are well spoken, that can string sentences together in an effective and a convincing manner, you may be convinced to seed points that are not actually rational. David Silverman, he tries to do this. And like, let's look at how he's done this in the tweet. Like, he's appealing to rationality. He's appealing to fairness. He's appealing to the fact that, you know, people lie. We all accept that. You know, if you just listen to your side, you're going to be biased. And there's a truth behind that that is important to understand, that there is bias wherever you go. The issue is that the most dangerous bias that exists is the bias that is not disclosed. What does that mean? What that means is, if I come and I say, hey, I'm a leftist, I believe that the more that we socialize things like the workplace, and the more that we make sure that there is easy and universal access to things like shelter, food, education, healthcare, like, that is me putting my bias up there and saying, these are my biases. So whenever you hear me talk about topics like getting COVID vaccinations and stuff, you understand that my bias exists where I think that the social good has a very high weight on the scales when we're looking at balancing personal freedoms with group freedom as a society, in terms of being free from negative things like pandemics, low education, unemployment, high homelessness rates. I think, you know, there's a balance there that socially we need to look at. David Silverman, though, none of these tweets, how much do we know about David Silverman's personal beliefs and what he thinks is correct? Outside of his rejection of mandates, outside of his rejection of masks being effective, as outside of his rejection of personal responsibility for those around him in terms of their health, I don't actually know what he thinks makes a good society. All I know so far is what he thinks makes a bad society. And that, to me, is not disclosing his biases, because he is not telling us what his goal is, aside from making sure that I understand that it is not my goal that he wants to work towards. And that is cowardly. That is a way where you can make arguments online and be free from having to justify yourself, because all you do is you just question the other side. You know, oh, well, what about this? What about that? Have you thought about the fact that maybe some people can't have the vaccine? Have you thought that maybe some people have conditions that mean a mask isn't comfortable, or they're not able to wear a mask, or all these sort of things where it's like, no, we have thought of that. We understand that. And that's why we are convinced that the more people that adhere to these safety measures, the better, because we need to cover the people that can't, not cover the people that don't want to. Those people we shouldn't have to cover, and we will try to convince them that we don't want to cover them and that they should take these steps themselves because they are the right thing to do. David does none of that so far, so let's give him a bit more time. To be fair, we've only looked at, 9 days worth. Has anyone, Matthew, done the COVID numbers recently? Yes, David, they get done every fucking day. Given current vax rates, vax effectiveness, and survival rates, what are the chances a vaxxed person could hurt or kill someone, and unvaxxed? These hard numbers need to be known so we can make good decisions. Anyone. So here's the truth, David. Every single government, at least in the OECD, so the developed countries, international developed, so we're talking like places like Australia, New Zealand, Canada, Japan, America, Sweden, Europe, all that sort of stuff, they are making decisions daily on what the modeling suggests are outcomes if they make changes to the current rules and regulations when it comes to vaccination targets, mask mandates, social distancing, shutdowns where necessary. And you can find that online. Like, I don't have access to it now. I don't know it off the top of my head, but you can see that what they're doing is they're looking at if there is an outbreak of COVID in a population with the density of, say, Queensland, say Brisbane, because that's the main city in Queensland. If there was an outbreak tomorrow, based on our current vaccination rates, what would be the impact? They have that modelling information. That information has been publicly spoken about at basically every level of government in Australia. So yeah, mathy people do know the numbers. This is that begging the question bullshit. What was it? There was a saying I saw recently that we don't always need someone to play the devil's advocate. Sometimes when you're the devil's advocate, you're just an asshole. And I think that's a prescient way of describing what we're seeing here. Just being an asshole. Like, what's he trying to achieve here? Like, it's just disbelief. This is not skepticism. This is cynicism. Did he reply to anyone? Oh, okay. Here we go. Did anyone, Matthew, do the numbers? Someone did. This woman is a queen. An absolute queen. I love this one so much. I love TikTok. I think TikTok's great.
I'm so fucking tired of this argument because yes, you can still get COVID if you are fully vaccinated, but do you know the statistics to that? Do you know the odds of getting COVID if you are fully vaccinated? Because I do. I'm not a medical expert, but I'm really fucking good at numbers. So let me show you.
This is recent, by the way.
There are 330 million people in the United States, right? Divide that by the 41 million COVID cases that we've had, and that gives you a 1 in 8 chance of catching COVID in the United States. 1 in 8 people have gotten COVID in the United States. Of those 41 million people, you've had 670,000 or so deaths. Right? That's a 1 in 61. 1 in 61 people in the United States have died from COVID. 1 in 61 people who have gotten COVID in the United States have died. Okay? Let's take this further. There are 173 million people who are fully vaccinated in the United States. Right? Do you know how many breakthrough cases there have been? Since as of August 30th, there are...
So breakthrough cases being cases that have occurred after vaccination, which do matter currently in the current environment where we have reasonably high vaccination rates in a lot of these countries.
There's been 12,908. That gives you a 1 in 13,402 chances of catching COVID if you are fully vaccinated. 1 in 13,402 versus 1 in 8. Let's take it a step further. There have been 2,437 deaths related to COVID, or people who are COVID positive and fully vaccinated, right? 480 of those aren't related to COVID, which means that they died from a car accident or something totally unrelated to COVID. So we're going to round that to 2,000. 173 million people in the United States are fully vaccinated. Divide that by the 2,000 that have died fully vaccinated from COVID. That gives you a 1 in 86,500 chances of getting COVID and dying if you were fully vaccinated. So unvaccinated, you have a 1 in 8 chance of catching COVID. You have a 1 in 61 chance of dying from COVID. And fully vaccinated, you have a 1 in 13,402 chances of catching COVID and a 1 in 86,500 chances of dying from COVID. How about we all just realize that billions of shots have been given worldwide, billions of people have been fully vaccinated, and we have a way to end this pandemic. We have a way for children to stop losing their fucking parents. Go get the fucking shot.
So she's not wrong. And she lost her father to COVID recently, which is why she's so passionate about it. But this is what blows my fucking mind, is that this fuckwit David Silverman sits on fucking Twitter, uses his fucking platform, such as it fucking is with his 10 fucking likes here, and he wants to spread hesitancy. He wants to question, do we really need to be vaccinated? Do I really need to give a shit about someone else's health? Yes, you fucking do. And let's be real, at the end of the day, he can do whatever the fuck he wants with his life, but if he expects to make these fucking takes, have these fucking decisions, and thinks that he gets to claim some fucking, I'm an enlightened fucking center-leaning person that doesn't capitulate to the left or right because I think 2 + 2 = 4, well, the reality is you're a fucking conservative in every single metric that matters, because all you give a shit about is your personal freedoms and not our collective success as a fucking community. Fucking hell. No, they're not second-class citizens. What were the fucking stats that we just got? They are just like many times more likely to fucking die and to pass that shit on to someone else and kill them. So, you know what? Maybe I will capitulate to unvaccinated people who can otherwise safely receive the vaccine are second-class citizens, because they are pieces of shit. Fuck, I'm angry now. Does it show? Oh, someone quit their job because it's too woke in fucking universities. Okay, I went to university in 2002. And then again in 2014, 2015, I think I finished my most recent postgraduate qualification. There was nothing woke in the university I went to. I went to Brisbane University. Granted, I didn't learn fucking gender studies. Like I most recently did policy analysis, which on the face of it, if anything was going to be woke and full of fucking leftist values and shit, it would be policy analysis, as in how to determine whether policy is right or wrong. And then before that, it was a bachelor's in fucking communication, which doesn't really have anything to do with it either. But fuck, this bullshit entitlement to be able to do any job you... You're so brave. I don't want to get into that. This is off topic. He fights bigotry in all directions. Why the fuck is everything that he fucking retweets conservative talking points? This isn't even fucking true. Oh my god. These are... Okay, do you know why Australia has made plans to create vaccination camps? It's because for the last 2 years, we have been keeping people in fucking hotel rooms in our fucking capital cities, where they are so densely populated that when there is a breakout case from a hotel, it spreads throughout the fucking population. COVID quarantine camps are places that are of the same quality as a lot of the hotels people are being put in, but they are decentralized places where there is more space for the people that are in quarantine when they've traveled from overseas. So there's more space for them to spend the 14 days. They are not near populated centers where a breakout case, like fucking security guards at these places were having sex with people that were in quarantine and cases would break out because suddenly they're going all over the fucking CBD, they're going to fucking Bunnings, they're going to fucking Chemist Warehouse, and we've got a breakout case. That's what this is to fucking solve. To call it a fucking concentration camp, like, holy shit, holy fucking shit. And like, again, it's just a fucking picture. Like, where's your fucking news article? If this was fucking real, yeah, see, this was misleading. I'm all for making people aware of what's going on in Australia, but this was not built as a quarantine camp. Fucking amazing, isn't it, right? Absolutely fucking amazing. I didn't say it. Fucking conservatives, I swear to fucking God, every fucking time what they do is they say the quiet part, but you know exactly what the loud part is. This isn't China. This is the Howard Springs Code quarantine camp in Australia for the dangerous people. They get called out saying that this is misleading. That much should be clarified. I didn't say it was. Didn't say what? You're not even responding to the criticism. The criticism is this is misleading, and your response is didn't say it. That's not a coherent response. Holy shit. Let me remind you, I am in conservative Twitter on a conservative's feed, reading their points to try and understand their point of view. So here's the question. What percentage of pro-choice candidates will be electable? And what percentage will support CRT, racism, blah, blah, blah. So this is not a proper question. This is not formulated in a way that is honest or earnest or expects a proper response. Because to answer this question, it requires me to accept the premises. And the premises are that there is a pro-choice candidate that is electable, fine. That there will be a percentage of people that support CRT, which, in the context of this question, means racism against Jews, whites, and Asians. I reject that. That is not CRT. Defunding the police, I don't see. Like, what candidate has like recently run in America on defunding the police and cancel culture? And again, I fucking like this is terminally online. This question is terminally online. It's like he thinks fucking Twitter is exactly how people behave and act in the real world. Wait, what? You don't have to support someone to vote for them. You just have to consider them better than the alternative. Correct. And this election period, I'll have a choice between someone pro-choice like me, who thinks it's fine to discriminate against Jews in favor of blacks, or a Republican who opposes choice but also supports equality. This is how the left loses abortion for... Oh my God. I don't know how to cover this one. This is someone I streamed with a lot when I started doing YouTube channels. And they are a conservative. And they probably hate me because I am pretty vocal against conservatives at the moment. Let's read out their point anyway. Fuck, it's here. It's in front of me. I think you're making a good point. The best chance the left has is to put up electable candidates who have a broad appeal across the political spectrum. Appealing to the extreme elements of the left only appeals to rusted-on voters. Okay, I'm not familiar with that phrase. Not swinging voters or the moderate left or right. The flow-on effect from that is the right will have to counter by putting up more moderate candidates rather than those on the other extreme. It leads to more sensible middle ground across the spectrum, and it's more likely to be able to work better together for the greater good. See, the problem that I have with this sentiment is the sensible middle ground. Like, what does a sensible middle ground look like for a lot of the topics that people are passionate about? One of the issues that has created what we have now, which is really polarized politics, is that the wedge issues that we polarize around don't actually have a middle ground. So let's look at abortion, for example, which is the particular topic that was the substance of this tweet, is pro-choice candidates, right? What is the middle ground of a pro-choice candidate, right? There's no position besides either women have the right to access healthcare, family planning, and, abortions where they need, or they don't have the right to make those decisions on a personal level. There's no middle ground where we start to capitulate and go, well, women can get access to family planning services if they get the father's signature. Like, is that the middle ground? Like, that doesn't seem very fair, because again, the crux of the matter is about women's bodily autonomy, so we can't put that in place. What I think the reality is, and what I think the idea that's sort of implied by this middle ground advocacy, is somehow that the extreme side, the extreme left, is advocating for abortions for fun, and that the middle ground is therefore abortions where they are medically necessary, where they are well considered, where they are well supported by psychological services and good quality healthcare and information through the process. That's the middle ground. And then the right hand side is no abortions, it's against the Bible. But that to me is a fantasy, right? There is nowhere where it is not the left's position that high quality healthcare and personal choice and bodily autonomy through that family planning process, like that is the left. Like that is what the left wants. So we don't have a middle ground to access when it comes to that particular topic. When we look at things like climate change, what does the middle ground look like on climate change? Again, this particular idea might suggest that the middle ground is, well, we need to transition out of coal, but let's be real, coal is still a really important part of the economy, so we need to continue to use coal power and still extract fossil fuels from the earth while we try and get things all sorted. Whereas the extreme left is, well, no, we need to stop investing in coal, we need to stop subsidizing it, and we need to actually start really solidly and meaningfully invest in renewables. And hey, guess what? It's even actually good for the economy, creates jobs, and the sooner that we transition into renewables, the sooner countries like Australia are going to be able to sell that technology to the rest of the world. Like, the middle ground's not sustainable when it comes to that issue either. Like, holy shit. Like, imagine going, be less left, because otherwise you're gambling with abortion, because I am willing to vote against abortion rights if my feelings are hurt. Like, fuck you, man. Please define CRT. Put the phone down, bro. CRT bad. Oh my god, but their name is Race Realist. Like, what the fuck? Oh man. Fuck me. Imagine thinking that liberals and conservatives are like what you need to be in the middle of the road of. Jesus. I suppose it depends what country they're in. Isn't Canada Liberals the left party? I might be wrong there. Either let me say the N-word or I'm taking a... Yeah, that's basically it, isn't it? Oh, fuck, that's right. This was even worse than the one... Like, it's the same point, but he says it fucking out loud. I hate losing abortion rights, but the left deserves to lose this previously solidly protected right because they gave up free speech, due process, and embraced racism against Jews, whites, and Asians. As why is whites not capitalized in this sentence? Because he's using it in a proper noun format. So it looks really weird that he's got Jews and Asians capitalized, but whites isn't capitalized. Does he think we're lesser? As well as low expectation racism against blacks. Oh, fuck me. Reap. Nice try, Boomer. You cannot co-opt online slang by just saying reap. You're not Hassan. Oh boy. Yeah, that's the mightiest ratio. That is the mightiest ratio so far. So did my last tweet make leftists sad? Good women are losing abortion rights because the left adopted blindly stupid and racist positions that smart people can't support. So no more abortion rights. Don't shoot the messenger. Women are losing because the left is unsupportable. Like, is there anything more insipid than holding human rights hostage because of other issues? Because of you don't like the way people make arguments, so you're going to take abortion rights away from women. Like, fuck me. Fuck me. Like, he spent days on this. September 1. When was his... 3 days he stewed on the fact that women were going to lose the right to get abortions in fucking Texas. Alright, we're at 1st of September. Orange rhymes with porridge. That's the first tweet with personality in it. He got 8 likes. He didn't get ratioed. He got 8 comments. I mean, someone's pushing back, but fine. Risky click. Door hinge. That is a reference. Does anyone understand that reference? That is Guybrush Threepwood, Mighty Pirate. We could probably continue this forever, but there's no value to it at the moment. So, we did as David Silverman suggested. We looked at someone that is not on the left. We sought out to understand their opinions. We followed their statements of what they felt was important, what they felt was right, what they felt was true. And I don't think I've seeded any single point that wasn't something that's pretty universal. So what did we seed, for example? I wish you could filter Twitter to just things that they themselves have tweeted, not retweets. Where was it? There was something about the health, wasn't it? Life is hard for all of us. So I agreed with stuff like that. But I don't think any point that could be considered partisan did I seed myself on. So